welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show where deception always gets a good reception. On Lee Mack's team tonight, a comedian who once wrote a book of made-up facts about pandas. Well, that's the thing with panda facts. They're never black and white. It's David O'Doherty. A breakfast TV presenter who tells us what the day's weather is going to be like, saving us all the arduous task of looking out of the window. It's a BBC Weather's Carol Kirkwood. And on David Mitchell's team tonight, a Glasgow-born comic who'll mix delicately spun lies with good old-fashioned Scottish aggression. It's Susan Calman. Just a joke. And a man who's done almost 490 pointless shows. And if you count tonight, 491. From Pointless, Richard Osman. So to round one, Home Truths, where our panellists read out a statement from the card in front of them. To make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Richard is first.
I have a 40% stake in a prize-winning racing pigeon.
Lee.
If there's one thing I know about, it's buying pigeons. So be careful with your answer. Tell me now, Richard, how much do you pay for 40% of a pigeon?
We paid £600.
Ah, you were robbed.
And it's about £70 a month to keep them, which is
£70 a month?
Yeah.
Wow.
That is a lot of trill.
We don't feed him trill.
What do you feed him?
IPO, steroids.
Oh, well, fine.
£70 a month? What are you, taking him to Alton Towers? What are you doing with him?
Firstly, he's got to be housed, he's got to be fed,
Yes,
he's got to be trained.
In a wooden shack.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Has he got a bungalow?
Shack. This is a prize winner.
Well, you said prize winner. What has he won?
He won the Prix-Calais.
Yeah.
And he's won some local things, but that's the proper deal.
Pre-PRIX.
Correct.
How many pigeons were in the race?
It's about 450. It's less than 500, but more than 100. It's
Come on, 500. The sky would be black then with pigeons. It's the Germans, they're back.
They're released in Calais and they race all the way to...
Well, they race home.
And where's home?
Essentially, well, his is up in Lancashire.
Right.
What's the pigeon's name?
It's called Cobbold Joe. Cobbold, C-O-B-B-O-L-D.
Cobbled Joe.
Cobbled Joe.
It's because the original, as you know about racing pigeons, right?
Oh, I do know about racing
Toddy
pigeons.
Cobbold.
Yeah.
Toddy Cobbold was the grandfather.
Yeah.
And so we chose that name. That's nice.
So is that true? Is there a pigeon called Tolly Cobbold?
Don't know.
You said you
You're
knew
mixing me
about
up with someone from a Hovis advert.
Are there any distinctive markings? So just if there were some pigeons there, say Trafalgar Square, I'd be able to go, oh, that's Cobbled Joe, down in London for the sales.
I'm going to be honest. I would struggle to choose her out of a pigeon parade.
Really?
But
Her, and she's called Joe.
Yeah.
So is it Joe with no E?
Yeah.
That's fine. Short for Joanna.
Yeah. Next question.
I think I might have this. I don't think lady pigeons do the racing because they would be pregnant some of the time.
I tell you what, she better not be.
It was only a cuddle, wasn't it, Richard? Do you go and watch do you go and when they go off, do you watch it?
I have seen the pigeon race once. Yeah,
How much of the race did you see?
I've seen the pigeon release. You see the release.
Have you ever seen a pigeon land?
Yeah, I've seen
You were there when the pigeon
yeah.
landed?
No,
You've never seen a pigeon land?
Right, I've seen a pigeon land, yeah.
Yes?
But not under racing conditions. Is that right? You've just seen a pigeon land in its spare time?
Yeah, exactly.
So you've only ever
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you've seen your pigeon take off,
Yeah.
but you haven't seen your pigeon land.
I have seen my
Does that mean
pigeon-
your pigeon's lost?
I don't think when a racing pigeon lands, it's any different than a normal
No,
pigeon.
exactly.
Oh, wrong.
They don't get tipped like
Kids
that.
right to the shed and go, whoa! I was going fast!
No, it doesn't. It raises its wings as it presses the tape. That's what it does.
So, it's time to decide, Lee. What are you going to say?
I think it's
Do you
true.
think it's true?
I think, yeah, OK, not true.
Let's say lie. I get confused if you say not true. It is a lie!
You think it's a lie? Richard, the pigeons, the racing, Cobbled
It
Joe.
is,
Truth
I'm
or
afraid.
lie?
A lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Richard doesn't have a 40% stake in a prize-winning racing pigeon. Carol, you're next.
I was rumbled at a dinner party after serving up a shop-bought pie and pretending I'd made it myself.
David.
What was in the pie?
Steak and kidney.
And what shop did you buy it from?
I bought it from a local butcher.
Did you make a big deal of saying, "Oh, look at my homemade steak and kidney pie, isn't it lovely?"
Unfortunately, I did, yes. I waxed lyrical.
And who were the people that you were trying to impress so much that you were homemaking, but you didn't know well enough to say, "I just bought this from a nice
They were the
butcher"?
parents of a good friend of mine who've been really kind to us, and I wanted to do something nice for them.
What repay them by lying?
How did they find out? That's the question. That's the important issue, Carol.
This was actually quite a bit awkward because we were all sitting there having a lovely meal, beautiful smells. I was saying, I'm so glad I've made this because I know steak and kidney is your absolute favourite. So, knife and fork in. How surprising, this is chicken and ham.
Oh, dear. Weren't you tempted to just go with it, pause and then go, well how do you make it?
And so what happened when they realised your deceitful ways?
Well, I had to really lie some more. And I had to think...
I really thought you were going to say come clean. Nice and more. Say, I'm afraid, do you know one of the first signs of Alzheimer's is thinking you're having chicken when in fact it's steak and kidney. It's a terrible thing. It means you've basically only got hours of consciousness left.
So what did you say, Carol?
Well, I said, because they had thought that I'd cooked these, I said, well, I made a big batch of pies at the weekend, and I made some chicken and ham, and I made some steak and kidney, and I froze them all.
That's good.
I took out the wrong
That's
ones.
very good, actually. That's very dubious.
Off our tongue.
Oh, my God. We have nothing to fear from climate change. You'll just tell us what we want to hear. It's all fine.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're drowning, in fact, it's a lovely sunny day.
So, David, what are you going to think here?
Well, I think it's genuinely, as it's hard to believe Carol would ever lie, but she's lying one way or another. So is she lying today, or did she lie a long time ago? I prefer to think that she lied a long time ago. In which case, she's telling the truth now.
Although, actually, her lie now would, to be fair, be mitigated by the fact that that is the point of this game.
I'll be devastated because I've watched Carol and loved Carol for some period of time, and I'll be slightly devastated and I'll have to take the shrine down that I've got in the house. But I'll take that shrine down. She probably is telling the truth in that she lied.
Don't throw the shrine away, by the way. Well, we can have a little chat about it.
So, David, you think it's the truth?
I think we think it's true.
You think it's the truth? Right, Carol Kirkwood. Was it the truth or was it a lie?
It was the truth.
Yes, it's true. Carol was rumbled at a dinner party after serving up a shop-bought meal and pretending she'd made it herself. Susan, you're next.
The day before I need to make a journey, I often make the journey so that when it comes to making the actual journey, I'll know what the journey involves.
Wow. Anna, just how far have you gone on these journeys?
Probably driven an hour.
From Scotland?
From where I live. If it's possible for me to do it like that, I mean,
Yes.
I'm not... It's strange. It's got to be possible. It's not like if I'm going to New York, I'll go the day before and come back. This is journeys that I can make, I would say, in about an hour's drive radius.
Always
of my
driving?
house.
You wouldn't do it on the train?
Oh, no, I would do it on the train. I've done it on the bus as well. I've taken the bus to make sure where the bus route goes and the bus stop
What, you
is.
don't trust that the driver knows?
No, it's me. I need to know where I'm going so I can...
You don't on a bus. He will just do it. You just sit back and relax.
No, but I think Susan's saying that there are certain things you have to do yourself, even when you travel by bus, like get on the bus, and get off the bus.
At the right point.
And
At the right
also,
bit.
get on the right bus.
Yes.
There's more than one
Sorry,
bus.
you've-
I don't want to sound totally working class.
Tell us, Susan, if you would, the last time that you did this.
It was probably about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I had to go to a meeting somewhere I'd not been before.
Right.
Where?
And
A self-help group or a meeting? You were going for self-help about stop being so anxious about going for journeys, and you even wrecked that.
Yeah. There must have been quite a few of you hanging outside the meeting place the day before.
Yeah. So I drove from my house to the location, looked at what the parking restrictions were so I could have the right change with me. So I was completely relaxed the next day.
If you know for a fact that you're going to do this, you're going to go the day before.
Yeah.
Do you not, the day before that, think, tomorrow I've got to do that thing where I go the day before somewhere and then do it that day?
Susan, this now makes sense, because didn't I see you yesterday? Just sniffing around outside the studios.
Yeah.
Did an event happen in the past such that you once arrived somewhere and went, oh, I wish I'd come here yesterday and I could have foreseen this terrible situation?
Like when JFK was shot.
Yes, I've always been haunted by that. If only I'd been there.
If he'd gone the day before, he'd have known when to duck.
It's very rude to be late for things.
Is that at the base of this?
I'm paranoid about
That's the
people
root of it.
thinking I'm rude or in any way, you know, deceitful, like Carol. So...
What are you thinking then? It does sound plausible.
When you die, you'll have only lived a third of your life.
Yeah.
The other 2/3 was a recce.
Yeah.
I just don't think it fits. Yeah, I think she lives life by the horns, or whatever that is.
Right. Lie?
Truth.
Ooh. I would say the truth.
Do you think it's the truth?
I don't know. I'm practicing. I'm going through what I'm going to say in a minute. That wasn't my answer.
OK. So what are you going to say?
It's the truth.
It's the truth. Susan, truth or lie?
It is the truth.
Yeah, it's true. The day before Susan needs to make a journey, she'll often make that journey so that she knows what that journey involves. Right. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Ian. So, Carol, what is Ian to you?
Well, this is Ian, and to frighten a teacher, we once hid a ram inside a classroom cupboard.
Lee, how do you know Ian?
This is Ian. He is the supermarket delivery driver who accidentally trapped me in the back of his van and drove me to his next drop-off point.
And finally, David, what's your relationship with Ian?
This is Ian. He is a skydiver who got blown off course and almost knocked me off my bike.
Right, there we have it. Carol's sheep prankster, Lee's accidental abductor, or David's diverted skydiver. David Mitchell and team, where are you going to begin?
Right, well, Carol, let's start with the ram in the cupboard.
Oh, the old Dave Mitchell chat-up line.
Yeah. Why did you put a ram in a cupboard?
Well, Ian and I went to school together in the Highlands, and often you would see the sheep and the rams just, you know, meandering into the school grounds.
Yeah.
And this particular day, one came in.
So the ram wanders into the school grounds?
Yes.
And you think, oh, that's fine, it'll be quite docile, I dare say it'll agree to get into a cupboard.
Well, what happened was the teacher was late. He was quite often late, and we were in a wee porta cabin out the back.
Are you saying
of
the
school.
teacher was a drinker?
No.
Okay.
But anyway, he was late, so we thought it'd be quite funny, because he was late, just to put this ram in his cupboard so that when he came in, the ram would be mad and come rampaging out.
Does Ian look like the kind of man that would grab a ram and drag it into a cupboard?
Yeah, he does.
For a laugh. He does. He looks like a kind of a devil. And I think Carol, being attractive and beautiful, would have done that whole, oh, let's just put a ram in the cupboard. And Ian would be like, I'll show you how to put a ram in the cupboard.
So when the teacher eventually arrived, how long was it before he went to his cupboard for a little look at his possessions? And what happened?
It would have been about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And, of course, we were all sniggering in the
Sniggering.
class. He opened the door. This angry ram came rampaging right out at him.
Is that where the word rampaging comes from?
Well, that's when you're trying to contact a ram in the 1980s. Who would you like to quiz next?
David, could you describe how Ian, was it nearly hit you?
Yeah, skydiving. I mean, this goes back to '92, and my family have always been involved in the Scouts of Ireland, and so I was, the big jamboree was in Wicklow, which is just outside of Dublin, and I was on a tandem bicycle with my aunt, who's one of the heads of Scouting Ireland, and we were heading towards the jamboree, and they were launching a comic book character to remind kids not to start fires in forests. And he was called Fire Dog, and his catchphrase was, "Don't start a fire, woof." And for the launch, they decided in the jamboree they were going to parachute Fire Dog into the middle of the jamboree, and we were on the tandem heading towards it with our little Scouty ties on.
Can I just check? Fire Dog, he says, "Don't start a fire, woof." Is it "Don't start a fire, woof," or "Don't start a fire, woof"? Which one is it? I want to know. I'm trying to genuinely want Richard to campaign.
It's quite easy. This is actually quite easily solved immediately with a demonstration, because my understanding of skydivers is they have a really good core muscle. So essentially, if we do that bit from Dirty Dancing, where
You actually didn't get any taller when you stood up. That was the oddest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anyone stand up and remain the same height. Yeah. It was shocking.
If I just run towards you like and you just lift me up like the end, then you'll be a skydiver. And if you don't do it, I'll be really hurt and you're dead. So.
Likewise, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to shut me in the back of a van.
I was just going to say.
So what are you planning to do?
I'm seeing whether or not he looks frightened by the prospect of me running towards him, and he's got to lift me
He
up.
does look a bit frightened, yeah.
Also, Rob also looks frightened.
What if the end of my story is that, and then he whacked against a wall, his legs shot off, and he had to have legs made of glass legs?
Is that the end of your story? No, we're back to plan A. Run at it. How far away from the jamboree were you at the point of impact?
Well,
sorry, near impact.
He had just missed the landing area by a few fathoms. And
Sorry, it was an aqua jamboree.
we swerved, we avoided him. He went into a hedge and we pulled him out. I was 14 or 15 at the time, and my aunt and Ian got talking, and that is why it's nice to have my Uncle Ian on the show.
Oh, that is
That's a
That was a hell of a landing.
that is a bombshell.
Yeah. Your aunt met her husband when he nearly hit her dressed as a dog.
Right, what about Lee?
So, Lee, how did you accidentally get shut in his van? What happened?
As you will know, that when the man who comes from the supermarket delivers your food, he delivers them in like a plastic box. Yeah? So he leaves the box and he goes into the kitchen and he drops off the food. And what I decided to do is that I'll help, right? He brings the last box. I said, "Is that it?" He said, "Yes, this is your last lot." Puts the thing, gets the bags, goes into the kitchen. Mr. Nice here picks the nice plastic things up and takes them to his van.
Oh, God.
So I go into the...
It's so close.
This is like the start of an episode of Casualty, isn't it? So I go in, and as I put them in, I look to my left, and something catches my attention.
A lamppost.
No.
And it's snowing.
No.
And there's a fawn.
No. A little thing catches my eyes. Believe it or not,
Someone has locked a ram in the back of the van.
It was, believe it or not, the thing that caught my eye...
I don't believe it, by the way.
...was a slightly ripped box of Cocoa Pops. And I thought, just for a minute, I thought, as Ian just had a little bit of a, like I would do, I'll have a little snack en route. So I just walk over to it. Now, as I walk over to it, it's only a couple of steps, and I'm now hidden behind a box
Oh, you are kidding
of
me.
food.
That's
You know, the boxes of food that
They
haven't yet been delivered. And at that moment, I hear the noise of the doors shutting and the little handle turning.
So why didn't you call out?
I did.
What, and he didn't hear you?
No.
What, over the noise of a van engine?
No,
It's
not
very
just the
loud.
van, the noise of Howard Jones on Magic FM. It was blasting.
Why did you...
try? Yeah, I'm going, help!
Why
And
did
he's
you
going,
bang
"What
on the
is
panel?"
wrong? Anyway.
was a...
I mean, it might not be true, but God, it was dramatic.
We do need an answer. Is Ian Carol's sheep prankster, Lee's accidental abductor, or David's diverted skydiver?
The key thing is I don't want to be fooled by David O'Doherty. That's the key. Look at him. Look at that.
Do you remember, you know, in the brownies, you had the brownie promise and all of that. So do you remember anything from your scouting days, your promise or anything?
It's different in Ireland. The Scouts don't have anything that you would possibly remember.
No promises, no value system, other than if you see a dog go into a hedge, you marry it.
I would say Carol.
I think it's
You say
David.
Carol?
I think it's David.
You say Carol, you say David. I think it's David.
So you're
So
going therefore with David.
We're going with David.
Ian, would you please reveal your true identity?
My name is Ian. Carol and I frightened our teacher by hiding a ram in the classroom cupboard.
Yes, Ian is Carol's sheep prankster. Thank you very much, Ian. Which brings us to our final round, quickfire lies, in which our panellists lie not only through their teeth, but against the clock. We will start with... It is David.
I once sent out 30 professional photographs of myself to try and get an agent. I got just one reply advising me to destroy all copies of the photographs.
David, what pose exactly were you doing in the glossy print?
I mean, I thought a normal, dignified, at the same time hilarious and talented one.
Show me.
Yeah, can you do it?
No, I think what it was...
Do it.
I think maybe in the picture, my mouth looked a bit wrong. You know, maybe it was a bit sort of...
Can I ask why you thought...
Or maybe...
But you didn't bother to change
it wasn't like...
And when was this? What period are we talking about?
It was in the 18th century. In the mid-late 1990s.
What kind of places were you sending them to?
Or did you just leave them in phone boxes around London?
How were you dressed in the photograph? Was it a casual or was it a smarter look that you went for?
I'm guessing smarter.
It's just in case he was wearing a leisure suit. Maybe it was the late 90s. You
What's
know,
a leisure suit? It's that sort of zip-up thing that you can relieve yourself in.
Yes.
It's what they'll be wearing in the future. It's just so convenient. Just get in and whatever happens, it's fine.
Did this dent your confidence, David?
Yes.
You didn't think I'll just get some more done, but this time without the stovepipe hat and the cravat?
I don't think I immediately got some more done. I mean, I have subsequently had other photos.
You got your
taken.
confidence back?
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Do you think that could be the truth?
I think it's true.
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
I think it's
True.
True.
I think it's true. David, truth or lie?
It is true.
True. It's true. David did once send out 30 professional photographs, but was advised by an agent to destroy all copies. Next. It's David O'Doherty.
Possession.
There's a box under the desk. Just pop the box on the desk, and then there's a card inside it. Before you take out the possession, just read the card, please.
This is one of the pairs of leg warmers for birds that I have made. I would have brought more, but birds are using them.
Could you show us these leg warmers?
I live beside the canal, and the swans are very unhappy around there.
The swans? You've tried to put a leg warmer on a swan?
He hasn't tried to, he succeeded.
How the hell do you... A swan? So they're trying to feed it over the webbing, and he doesn't get crushed. It's got a great big beak on us.
Everyone knows about this, but if you befriend the swan, the first thing you befriend the swan when the wings go up like that, and then generally the next thing they go like that, as in make me leg warmers. That's it.
They for swans?
David, they would break your arm if you went near them.
Famously.
Famously.
That's what they do. They break your arm and then the queen eats them.
Yes.
How do you get them over the feet?
Right, if you put your hand like that and then try and get it over there. It's like O.J. Simpson. Stick it on there. That's a swan.
That's a swan foot.
That's a swan.
With the swan, it's all about authority. So watch this.
No, they're webbed.
That's no good.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt the swan. You've just ripped through its webbing.
You know when you said swan at the beginning?
Yeah.
Did you mean sparrow? David, it's time to take a guess. I mean, I don't know which way you're going to go on this.
Maybe a swan could be able to slip that over its foot, and maybe a swan would derive tremendous warmth from this incredibly thin and flimsy and short piece of material going an inconsiderable distance up its really rather long leg.
I think it's true.
Don't say that!
I think it's true.
Don't say, because that's the sort of... That's what happens to your mind in this game. You say, and you start thinking, oh, yeah, of course, the fact that he said swan and it seems impossible is exactly what's so plausible about it.
If you people don't start taking this a bit more seriously, I'm going to bring my Uncle Ian out here again.
So what are you going to go for?
I think we're going to say lie.
Lie? You're saying it's a lie.
I'd just
David
like to say,
O'Doherty.
Rob.
Yes.
If it's true.
Yes.
I don't care.
David, truth or lie?
I'm afraid my tale of swan leg warmers is a lie.
Oh, thank God. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it? Yes, it's a lie. David doesn't make leg warmers for birds. And that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show, and I can reveal that David's team have 2 points and Lee's team has 4.
Hey.
But of course, it's not just a team game. My individual liar of the week this week is David O'Doherty. Yes, David O'Doherty. He's made the show like a massive bed and lied in it. Good night. Good evening and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show where lies win the prize. On David Mitchell's team tonight, a comedian recently voted one of the 100 most powerful women in Britain. Yes, not only is she hilarious, she can also toss a caber and drag a tractor using just her teeth. It's Sarah Millican. And a comedian who is famous for his compulsive obsessive disorder. And yes, I said that the wrong way round on purpose, just to unnerve him. It's John Richardson. And on Lee Mack's team tonight, he's the comedy legend that gave us the anarchic shooting stars. We're no strangers to anarchy here. David Mitchell's not even wearing a tie tonight. It's Bob Mortimer. And he's the Homeland star who left Birmingham to go to Hollywood, but says one day he wants to return. Oh, he is a good actor. It's David Harewood. And so we begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. OK, Bob, you're first up tonight.
Thank you. I once set fire to my house with a box of fireworks.
David Mitchell's team.
Was this on purpose?
It was done out of ignorance.
What age were you?
I was somewhere round about 7.
I want to know where you grew up, where a 7-year-old can buy a box of fireworks.
I bought them in the shop near where I lived in Middlesbrough. It was a box for 2 and 6 of standard fireworks. That was the brand.
Standard brand. That sounds exciting. Standard fireworks. Yeah. A normal level of excitement will be endangered. Yeah. For a bonfire night, you will forget.
But it says standard, but then it's...
Well, that is standard for a firework.
Yeah.
So you're in your home, and you're 7 or 8 years old.
I'm 7 and I'm on my own, yeah.
On your own?
Yeah, and
what
on one of the fireworks, I think it was the sparklers, it said, not suitable for indoor use. Which, at that age, makes you think, that means they're OK.
Could you just not read the word not when you were obeying?
Did you think not was the brand? You go, oh, lovely, I love that not brand food. It's not for human consumption.
You know that logic that says, well, people have obviously tried them indoors.
I've discovered they're not suitable.
Yeah.
So therefore, I won't use them indoors because I want to live.
If you look at a big firework, it won't say not suitable for indoors. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Right.
But on the sparklers, they chose to put it on.
So what happened?
I lit the sparkler. The sparks went into the box of fireworks, a standard box, and set them off. And I carried the box of fireworks, now beginning to light, into the kitchen, and I threw them into the kitchen. I thought it would be more suitable.
I think you're right. The kitchen, of all the rooms, is the most suitable for fireworks, isn't it?
Because of the oven, the gas, the stove. There is fire naturally in the kitchen.
Yeah, there's a lot of... And there's more... It's more wipe down.
Yes.
Less cloth.
So what happened then?
They went off in the
What was the sound like? Was it bing, wee?
No, these were only standard. And, you know, I remember, as I'm sat here now, wiping the scorch marks off the floor and thinking that my mum's going to kill me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be in big trouble. Then I went back into the living room. Unbeknownst to me, I dropped one. And the living room was completely engulfed in flames.
It sounds to me that if you're on your own at home at 7, your mum's pretty laid back anyway.
She said, son, will you sit here and look after these fireworks? Whilst I go out to the bingo.
So, you lit the sparkler, a spark went into the standard box.
Yes.
The box starts to go, you go, uh-oh, I must get them into the most suitable room for fireworks.
Yes.
The kitchen. No need to go beyond the kitchen to the outdoors.
Yeah. Mum said don't go out.
It's good to know there was at least one rule in your house.
What time of day did all this happen?
This happened mid-afternoon.
Oh, dear, so you didn't really get the benefit of the...
Who put the fire out?
I went to next door where Miss Best lived. She was, bless her, she was about 80. And I knocked on their door and said, my house is on fire. And she said, do you know, I thought it was.
So what happened then?
She called the fire brigade. They fired their water hoses throughout the house.
Yes.
Ruining it.
Even the rooms where there's no fire.
Not ruining it.
Yeah.
You do know that before they put out fires, it's already ruined, don't you?
Lee.
You're making this house all wet. It was lovely and warm before.
And it's the water damage that knackers the house.
Is it? Not the fire?
Not the fire. If they would use their boots to put it out. Honestly, the entire house, that's it. I was in a family of 4 children, and we were homeless.
Where... Come on, keep it light.
No, I'm just saying.
Where were all the other kids while you were alone with the fire? Why did you take 3 children out?
They were looking after fireworks in other people's houses.
So when you say you were homeless, how much of the house did the inferno claim?
It's gone. Entire
That's
house
what, the
gone.
whole
house gone.
The whole house burnt down?
Burnt down.
So how much did you leave in the living room? The fireworks in the kitchen have only caused a few scorches.
Yeah.
What did you leave in the living room?
And now, don't you feel stupid for saying standard fireworks?
Yeah.
I tell you,
really.
I
think you were stupid for lighting a sparkler indoors.
If you don't know what you dropped, in the living room. Is there a chance that it's just a coincidence?
No, it could be.
That it might not have been your fault?
That's what I said to the press.
Your fault?
Press? What press? Who did you speak to?
Local press.
Because they came to the house while it was burning?
Yeah, you know, they're their hats on, trilbies, sniffing around.
With those little bits of paper in the notebook. Were they called things like Scoop McLean?
No, I believe he was called Ron Waffle.
Sorry, Ron Waffle?
It was either him, the other ace reporter on the Gazette was John Caramel. It was one of them two.
Caramel and Waffle?
Honestly.
The question is whether you think Bob has been telling the truth.
Well, I thought it seemed very plausible until we heard about Caramel and Waffle.
I think he thinks he's telling the truth, but I think what's happened at some point, he's seen a film in which this has happened.
He saw Backdraft.
And is now convinced that it happened to him. I think it's a lie.
Sarah.
I was going to say I want it to be true, but that sounds really horrible. I think it might be true.
Well, I think it's true. I think it's true.
So you're going to go for true?
Yeah.
OK, Bob, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
I was telling the truth.
Oh.
Yes, it's true. Bob once set fire to his house with a box of fireworks. John, you're next.
When I'm stressed, I often take a water-free bath.
Water-free baths, Lee and his team.
Do you get undressed?
No.
Do you just sit in the bath?
Well, I lie in the bath.
Oh, of course, because you want to get the imaginary water all over your body, don't you? Do you imagine there's water in the bath, or does your mind accept it's not there?
No, you know it's not there. I'm not an idiot.
I know it's not there.
Do you have a hovering duck?
How long do you spend in this position?
It depends on how stressed I am. If I'm very stressed, I'll be in there a long time. If I'm only a little bit stressed, I'll pop in and I'll pop out again.
But what's the benefits? I don't see what is stress relieving.
Well, a bath is stress relieving, isn't it? But then it's quite a faff, isn't it? Running the water, taking your clothes off, then you're wet. You can't go out when you're wet, so you've got to dry yourself. Then you've got to put your clothes back on. Well, if you just get in without all that faff, you get all the joy of a bath and none of the fuss.
You're from the north, I bet you've got just an imaginary flannel.
You said that like you're not from the north.
I'm not.
If you said that,
I've completely converted now.
Have you told your accent?
Are you always alone?
Sarah, do you mean in life or in the bath?
Whichever one he wants to answer.
You always should be in the bath alone. I think we'll all agree.
John, do you do any, bath-related things when you're in the non-bath, or do you just shut your eyes and lie there?
Sometimes I'll put my dressing gown on over me, or a big towel.
Over your clothes?
Over your clothes?
Over me. I'll get into the bath.
Oh, in the bath.
Oh, right. Now suddenly got a bit more disturbing.
It's a cabin.
It's stress relief, isn't it? I don't just sit there, in the bath, I don't smoke. But...
You can have an imaginary cigarette if you're having an imaginary bath, it's fine.
So what are you thinking, Lee? Does this smack of the truth?
What do we think, David?
I think it's total nonsense.
Do you?
Yeah. Putting the thing over your head, I think it would add to the stress as opposed to relieving it. I'm going for a lie.
You're going for a lie?
I'm going for a lie.
Going for a lie in his bath, fully clothed.
Actually, come to think, a fart's not going to be half the fun in this non-bath, is it?
So we're going to say lie?
Lie.
My team say lie, so I have to go with them and say lie.
You're all saying it's a lie. OK. Yeah. John Richardson, were you just telling us the truth, or were you telling a lie?
It was, sadly, true.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Let's end the show there. Let's end the show there. We'll have a quick chat with John. We'll bring on Jeremy Kyle and we'll just end it there.
Yes, it's true. When John is stressed, he has a water-free bath. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Keith. Bob, first of all. Bob, what is Keith to you?
This is Keith. He's my oldest friend, and when we were at school together, we hid a dictaphone in the classroom ceiling to confuse our teacher.
David Harewood?
This is my old teacher, Keith. I once had to claim I wasn't me when I met him in a cafe, as I was in character preparing for Homeland.
And finally, Lee, your relationship with Keith.
This is Keith, and his hawk... Yes. Yes, I'll admit, David, it's a difficult start. Well, go with it. Yeah. This is Keith, and his hawk was supposed to land on my arm at a village fete, but instead stole the wig from the man next to me and flew off into a tree.
So there we are. It's Bob's classroom prankster, it's David's blanked buddy, or it's Lee's hawk handler. David's team, where do you start?
So, yes, David, he was a teacher at your school?
Very briefly.
What, a whole lesson?
I mean, I don't know if... I mean, I would see him.
But he didn't teach you?
No, not teach me.
He was someone who hung around a school, and he was... charitably, you assumed he was a teacher.
But if he was at the school a short period of time, how did you even recognise him in the cafe?
Oh, I knew it was him. He walked into the cafe and he said, "Hi, David," and basically I blanked him. It was literally the month before I went to America when I was doing Homeland, and I'd just been to see my dialect coach. He basically said I have to stay in my American voice. So...
Could you not have explained that to him in your American voice? I'm sorry, buddy, but I'm doing a roll here.
I don't think it was ever as good as that, John, to be fair.
I basically just had to say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm remembering you now. Do the voice a bit more straight.
I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Ooh, that did weird things to me.
So your dialect coach said, you're in this role, you need to stay in this character.
Yeah.
Now the lesson's over, let's go to a very public place.
Yeah.
We're likely to encounter several people.
Well, that's what you have to do. You have to stay in that voice. You have to have the confidence to stay in your voice.
Why can't you just, like, turn it on like an actor?
Oh, that's a cheap shot, Sarah.
I have to say, I did phone him up afterwards and apologise.
So you had his number?
You've stayed in touch with the teacher you barely remember.
Would it be fair to say the hawk's looking a bit more plausible?
So, David, who would you like to question next?
Bob, remind us of your allegation.
When we were at school together, we hid a dictaphone machine in the ceiling tiles to interrupt the lesson.
So not to record, but to play stuff?
Yeah.
What sort of stuff?
Well, it was important to keep a gap at the beginning, so we let it run for about 15 minutes. And then there was the noise of a fly. For a brief period, then another period, to confuse the teacher.
Where would you get the noise from the fly? You'd make the noise.
We'd make the noise ourselves,
Let's hear
I'm
your
not paying
fly
for no
noise.
fly to do it.
Let's hear your fly.
You know,
It does sound like a fly.
Can I hear your bee?
we didn't do a bee.
Do you know how to do a bee? Just like that fly.
Oh, no, it's more wholesome if it's a bee, isn't it?
Show me the difference, David.
Well, I don't know, I'm not...
Do it.
I'd say, OK, a bee would be a sort of a foot...
No, that's a bumblebee.
A fly is a...
Very good. That's good. Very good. Do you see the way he just slipped straight in and out of character?
So
yes, there was silence.
Yeah.
Then a little bit of fly, silence, a little bit of fly, and then quite loudly, but not to frighten anyone, the word wolf. Then more silence. Yeah. A bit more silence. Then Speedway Stadium. Like that.
Speedway Stadium.
Do you know, the idea was just to say kind of random things. He was a really nice teacher called Bill Whitlingham.
How did Bill Whitlingham react to these random sounds?
Well, Mr. Whitlingham left the room and said, "Can you sort this out by the time I've gone back?" Can you sort whatever it is that's going on? And there was a cupboard in the corner where, interesting, it had like exercise books in it, pens and that, but it also had, in a little cage, a hand lion, which is a robotic, it's a battery-operated thing.
What? Are you just saying any words that come into your head? In any order?
It's a hand lion, and if
hand lion.
It's a robotic, animatronic hand lion. Yeah. And if you'd been particularly good, he would put it on your hand and set it to lick it. Lick it. If you'd been particularly...
Was this like a clockwork lion?
No, it was remote control.
It was remote control?
Remote control. He had the controller in his desk, and he said,
But the actual hand lion...
Get out the hand lion, and you'll get a lick. And if you'd been bad, you put him on your hand and he'd strike. He'd strike at your hand.
So the hand lion had two settings. It could lick or it could strike.
Yes, good boy, bad boy.
Right, very
good
sensible.
boy, bad boy. Now, the only problem with it, of course, was...
What, this story?
The only problem was, of course, if the batteries got low, it would get constipated. No, anyway, but in this cupboard, so we got up on the cupboard.
You climb onto the cupboard that the hand lion is housed in.
Probably asleep.
Right, you reach up onto the ceiling tile.
Take out the dictaphone.
Switch it off.
Yep.
Mr. Whitlingham comes back in.
Yes.
What happens?
He's nervously awaiting another, edict from above. Doesn't come, we carry on with the lesson. British government and politics it was.
So there's a lesson called British government and politics?
Yeah.
Whole year on that?
2 years, it was A-level.
For the sixth formers...
Yes.
A hand lion... a hand lion that can either lick or strike was what was used to express praise or the opposite to these 17 or 18-year-old students.
And it was very effective.
All right. Would you like to move on to the final claim?
So, Lee, tell the story about Keith.
I was at a village fete, and...
Why were you at a village fete?
I was helping out.
What village?
Thames Ditton.
Why were you helping out at Thames Ditton fete?
Because I don't live too far away from there, and they asked me to help out, and I did a few little things, like I did a bit of tombola, a bit of announcing. Then I went over to judge the pig racing. The usual things you do at a fete, you know.
The pig racing?
Yeah. I don't know why I judged it, because surely first past the post, but...
Well, no,
I was doing a case of a dead heat.
And what happened with the hawk and Keith and the wig?
One of the things I had to do was to volunteer to stand there and learn. He had the little headpiece on where he'd teach the crowd basic falconry, I believe we call it. I stick the glove on and then hold this little thing. I don't know what it was, but I'm doing this. I'm a
small morsel of meat.
Thank God you've been to one, because I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm holding a small morsel of meat. Then what happens? And
then the swan comes down.
The swan came down. So the hawk comes over, right? It comes over. There's a person missing from this story, and it's the mayor, right? The local mayor. I can't say it in I always struggle.
Mayor.
The mayor, right?
So
mayor
you're
of
standing
London.
next to a horse.
Yeah, so the local... So the mayor is doing his bit, but the mayor has got a wig on, right? The hawk flies over to go and land on my hand, but he lands on the mayor's head, and so he gets caught up in his what should we call them? Talons. He gets caught up in the talons, and then in the sort of panic, the bird and he can't release this wig, and he flies off. And he goes into the tree. I said, why didn't he go for the meat? And he said, I genuinely think the gold chain caught his eye. There was a bit of confusion for a second, and he just did a bit of an emergency landing on a mayor's wig at Thames Ditton Fete. What's there not to believe?
At that point, did you cry, oh no, the mayor's hers over there?
All right, so David's team is Keith, Bob's classroom prankster, David's blanked buddy, or Lee's hawk handler.
I was believing Bob until the fact that he was 18 and the hand lion. I'm leaning towards David.
I think I'm leaning towards David.
I think it's Bob, and I think he panicked because he knew we were onto him, so he went on a ridiculous riff about a hand line to throw us off the scent. I'll go Bob, but I've been wrong before.
Sarah?
I'm going to go David.
We'll go David.
You're saying David? Keith, please reveal your true identity.
My name's Keith, and Bob and I recorded voices and hid the dictaphones in the ceiling.
Yes. Keith is Bob's classroom prankster.
I would never have believed all that stuff about a hand line was completely true.
Thanks very much, Keith.
Thank you.
Which brings us to our final round, quickfire live. We start with... It's Sarah Millican.
Possession.
There's a box under your desk. Would you pop it on the desk? And then, first of all, read out the card that's inside before you show us what the possession is.
This is my cat cam. I put it around my cat's neck for a week to film what it got up to because I believed it was him who kept turning the kitchen tap on.
OK, let's take this item out and pop it on the desk. Right, Lee's team, cat cam.
So you're saying that you thought the cat might be turning the tap on?
Yes.
Well, we know it wasn't John. So you put the cat cam on the cat for how long?
For, well, generally like an hour at a time, but while I was out.
So the cat's clever enough not to be turning this tap on when you're in?
Well, yeah, because I would just see him doing it, and then I would know it was him.
If he could do the tap, were you not worried that he could turn the camera off?
No, because the tap's like one of those ones where that's quite fiddly.
And how do you see the picture? You connect it to a computer?
Yeah, it's
Is there
just
a
got
USB
a
on there?
USB thing, yeah.
Oh, I see, OK.
You attach it to the computer, and how long are you watching? An hour at a time?
Well, you fast forward it. I'm not sitting
just
watching...
the highlights. You're doing the highlights.
Yeah.
Go on. The big question is:
was it the cat?
Not so far, but it's still.
Somebody's
sort of
turning the taps on when you go out of the house.
It's kind of a work in progress. So
when you come back,
I hope he's not watching because then.
Don't worry, he's turned this off. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why didn't you attach the camera to the tap?
Oh. Thank you.
What's the name of your cat, Sarah?
It's called Chief Brody.
And the personality, is he a scratcher?
He is a scratcher.
On bits of furniture?
Arms.
Yeah. Well, that's not so much of a worry. It's the furniture is more the thing, isn't it?
Is it?
Thanks.
Can I ask why you're so worried about the cat turning the taps on when you've got something in your house that's attacking you? I wouldn't mind if
But
it's
he's
turning
still
the tap on
lovely.
if it's scratching my face.
Well, that's because you're not a cat lover.
No, but I don't like things that scratch.
Well, don't get a cat then.
Am I the weirdo here?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a show of hands. Yes.
That's so lovely to hear, because usually it's me.
What colour is your cat, Sarah?
Ginger.
Pink collar, a ginger cat? Would you?
It's red. It's not
Would
pink.
you? Pink.
It's red.
Oh, please, it's pink.
It's red. Shut your face.
Red and ginger, devil's finger. That's what they say. Who? Wouldn't they say?
Who says that?
No one says that.
They do.
Is that what your mum used to
And they're
say?
still saying it.
So what do you think, Lee? Is she telling the truth?
What do we think, Bob?
I'm saying it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. David's saying it's
possibly true.
Well, I'll lie.
OK, you're saying lie. Sarah, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Sarah didn't put a cat cam on her cat. Next. It's David Harewood.
I can balance a banknote on my nose.
When did you first find this out?
When I was about 13.
Is it flat or is it sort of like that?
It's on its kind of on its
edge.
Yes, and I would balance it on like that.
He's only straight
like
up.
that?
Yes. Yeah. No,
On your nose?
Kind of like that.
So that the end of the note is along your nose there, going upwards.
Yes.
And what's your technique for... Because I imagine the problem with that is that the note would immediately fall off. What's your technique for preventing that?
Zen.
Zen?
Zen.
Is that a type of glue? What do you think, David? Does this have the ring of truth for you?
I don't think it does. I think it's an odd mixture of something that would be impossible and not that impressive anyway.
So what do you think?
We think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie.
Three of you, all three of you think it's a lie. OK. David, Harewood. Truth or lie?
It is true.
Whoa!
That Rob's got a no now.
Yes, it's true.
Whoa. You pulled that out at just the right time for us. Cheers, mate.
Yeah. I have to stand up for this.
All right, please do.
Here we go.
Take your time, milk it. Very impressive. Yes, it's true. Oh, and that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show. And I can tell you that Lee's team have triumphed by 3 points to 2. But, of course, it's not just a team game. And my individual liar of the week this week is Bob Mortimer. Yes, Bob Mortimer. If you were looking for an effortless liar, then Bob's your uncle. At least he says he's your uncle. He's probably lying about that too. Good night.